Hey everybody, Thacia here with Legacy of Light in conjunction with One Love Wellness Center here in Menasha, Wisconsin, coming to you for one of my 365 days from my heart to yours. And today I'm going to read a couple passages from The Mystic Path to Cosmic Power by Vernon Howard. So, if you feel you are missing out, one of the most powerful of all motivating forces in man is that he not miss out on something. We don't want life to pass us by. Properly directed, this force can turn a poor pilgrim into a wealthy resident. A non-enlightened man is missing out. Oh, what is he missing? If only he could see it. A man must begin to suspect that there is something else within himself, something entirely different from what he now experiences. You speak often of the need for self-transformation. I know this has nothing to do with exterior religious activities, but with the inner change. How can I begin? And he replies, by living from all these new principles that we discuss. This includes self-awareness, ceasing to waste energy in worry and guilt, and being receptive to the inner voice, and so on. How does this differ from the way the average man lives? His reply, the average man lives from an old, fixed, negative ideas. He is unaware that he is mechanically driven by frantic desires and habitual responses to life's challenges. It is a strangely tragic situation. For years you can tell a man that he is mechanically conditioned, unfree, unhappy, and he will never believe you. He is so blocked in his mind from seeing himself as he really is that he refuses to see his own chains. Then how does anyone ever break free? His reply, with most people, it takes a severe shock of some kind, and intense suffering often makes them seek the light. Correctly used, shock and suffering can be a turning point towards a new life, but it must be correctly used, that is, constructively. Interesting. You say that awareness of how unhappy we really are can start us towards genuine happiness? His response, yes. It is not negative to admit that we have lost our way. It is an honest step in the right direction. Remember the parable of the prodigal son. And for anybody who doesn't know the parable of the prodigal son, it was a father had sent his two sons out in the world with their inheritance, and the one son invested it, bought some stuff, and did useful things with his. The other son went and squandered his money all away. And when he lost it all, he came back home and asked his father if he could be a servant because he wasn't worthy to be his son anymore. And instead of making him his servants, his father gave him the finest robes and the finest food and welcomed him home with open arms, because there was no expectations of him as a son. His father loved him and his brother equally, no matter what they did or didn't do. So the prodigal son is coming home to his inheritance, to his love, to his family, his father, and is respected and loved. And that is how the universe is for us. There's nothing that we have to do or be to deserve it all. The universe wants us to have it all. The God inside, the God outside, whatever. It's all about finding that balance and knowing that we are eternally adored and loved, and can be that, prodigal son if we feel like we've gone away, or we're just coming back and awakening to realizing who we are, who we truly are. We are all at some point, the prodigal son who comes home, and the universe lovingly just hands us the finest robes, the finest foods, and loves us and appreciates us for everything that we are. So he says, it is never your responsibility to create success. Your part is to make an effort to awaken to your true self, whose very nature is success. You need only let it exist in your awakened consciousness. We must wake up? Fine, but how? And he answers, we must take our answer from the thinker who is more or less ignored by the world of his day, but who has since been acclaimed a mystic of profound insight. Danish author Søren Kierkegaard would declare, you are in utter despair about yourself? Good. That is a needed step towards liberation, but you must face your despair fully and deeply, and not lull yourself to sleep with comforting doctrines or shallow escapes. Face the fact of being what you are, for that is what changes what you are. Far from being your shame and ruin, honest self-observation leads to the very salvation for which you would gladly give everything. So our salvation comes from observing ourselves and going through these situations and viewing them as they are. And then we become what we are by viewing these situations for what they are. A city once built an expensive highway that went nowhere. It left the city, twisted around the countryside for a bit, and ended abruptly. A motorist, expecting to reach a definite destination, wasted his time and energy. So do we waste ourselves when traveling through life on false principles. We must learn to separate the truth from the false. The preceding paragraph contains a true principle. Can you think of anything more exciting than to feel then you are on the right road at last? And at last being coming to that realization, because there has never been a time in all of your lives that you haven't been on the right road. That's right. You've always been on the right road. And there will never be a time where you can take the wrong path, the wrong road. You are truly always divinely guided. And trust yourself, trust your heart, trust your knowing. That's true. And you just have to trust the knowing, because the truth cannot be told. It has to be learned. So when we learn it, we can trust that this is our truth, and that we have always been on the right path. No matter what. And you were always and forever loved, no matter what. And you are eternally adored, no matter what. So the next part is a life-transforming secret. If you will give special attention to the ideas of this section, you will grasp them fully. I assure you that your life will be utterly transformed. You are about to explore one of the greatest esoteric secrets of the ages. Woo woo! Way to go! Men are desperate and frustrated and frightened because they live from imaginary pictures that they have of themselves, rather from their true nature. If you spent a dozen years working to grasp that single fact, it would not be too much. It is vital to you, once more, and here's the secret. Men are desperate and frustrated and frightened because they live from imaginary pictures that they have of themselves, rather than from their true nature. And that's the journey. That's where we're all headed to our true natures, who we are, the divine inside, who we are as part of the divine expression of this entire universe. our connection, our love. And we get lost because we believe in these imaginary pictures of who we are. We believe them to be the truth when they are far, far from it. But we chose to have these experiences. So that we could grow positively, positive growth through every situation. A man must observe that he is living from imaginary pictures of who he is, from a false sense of identity. At the start, it is difficult to do this because he is so close to himself that he cannot see his fictitious self. For example, suppose a man has been conditioned since childhood with the idea that he must become a financial success. He begins to see himself as scoring great financial triumphs, buying and selling famous hotels, traveling around the world in luxury, and so on. But when his dream picture clashes with reality, when he finds himself working in the office, he feels frustrated. But from the clash between what he is and what he falsely thinks he should be. He should be nothing but harmonious, cheery, a decent human being, either with money or flat broke. By seeing this, he would be the happiest man in the office on earth. There are endless varieties of artificial selves, but all are equally harmful. People imagine they must be wealthy, popular, wise, educated, powerful, impressive, charming, clever. They must be nothing of the sort. They must be themselves. Then all the extras of life that we need will be added to us. We will enjoy them, not be possessed by them. So we don't have to be any of these images that we believe that we have to be. All we have to do is be who we are and accept who we are and where we are. And this is a beautiful lesson for me, and I hope it is for you as well, to accept and love the place that you are. And the things that are going on around you, your circumstances, are for your positive gain. And to not see it as negativeness or something that, like he said, he could have been the happiest man on the office on earth if he would just realize that. And I think, to me, this, goes along with manifestation. When we love and accept who we are and where we are, these other things that we thought we needed or wanted will be added. So accepting, where I'm at and being okay with that. And not struggling with, the finances or thinking that I'm not manifesting well and whatever else. I'm manifesting in every other area except for that. So what am I doing wrong? Nothing. I'm exactly who and where I am. Because I am that. And each one of you is that. You are the I am. You are the divine right now. Not when everything's perfect and perfectly fixed and you're doing as well as so-and-so and you've got all this stuff and your dream list. Everything's great then. Well, if it's not great now, it's never going to be great then. That is what he's saying. Like, he can be the happiest office man on the earth, whether he's rich or poor. But just accepting where he is. So imaginary self-pictures also explain mankind's wars and crimes and other social tragedies. People dominate by false ideas of who they are and will be compulsively driven to greed and destructive ambition. When you see that millions of people are hounded by their false identities, you will understand why the world is so wounded. The destruction of false self is a great esoteric secret that few of the billions on earth know about. Of those who have heard, few follow through to self-liberation. You can, if you choose. It's the key. It's all our choice. If you choose to be different from the billions of desperate people, you can work with this idea until it becomes part of your understanding, and then you will live as a new person, till it becomes part of you, until you balance that, the ego, the higher self, the divine, all of that into who you are. It's all about balancing, and it's our choice. At any point, we get to make all the choices to how we want our existence to look and to be, because we are the creators. So what can you do? You can observe yourself daily. Watch your daydreams. They are clues to the false pictures you have of whom you think you should be. Never mind who you should be. This is a painful trap. Don't shit on yourself. Destroy your imaginary self-pictures with ruthless persistence. They are foes who prevent your newness. With ruthless persistence, destroy all the false beliefs of who you should or shouldn't be. We resist letting go of our imaginary self-pictures because we fear our emptiness without them. We must courageously face the temporary uncertainty as to who we are, if we are to discover our true spiritual identity. Excuse me. All the great religions, including that of the New Testament, tell about this stage of our development. It is like continuing through a dark tunnel to reach finally the sunlight beyond. So I just want to read that last little paragraph again, just to kind of hear it again and really listen to what he is saying and how resistance can keep us from the very thing that we're seeking. Resistance and believing these lies and these things that we should be doing or we shouldn't be doing. We resist letting go of our imaginary self-pictures because we fear our emptiness without them. We must courageously face the temporary uncertainty as to who we are, if we are to discover our true spiritual identity. All of the great religions, including that of the New Testament, tell about this stage of our development. It is like continuing through a dark tunnel to reach, finally, the sunlight beyond. So with ruthless persistence, on a daily basis, really connect to your heart and see, is this one of my false identities that I believe that I have to be in order to be successful? Because as he said, we are success. Who you really are is successful at everything. Not just one thing, but not the other. You are a success. Who you really are. And that's in you. It's not anywhere outside of you. It's not you're a success if you have this. You're a success if you finally get that car you wanted. You're a success if. There's no ifs. You just are. But we have to ruthlessly pursue and persist against these false beliefs, these lies that have kept us from seeing who we truly are, from believing who we truly are and connecting with that. And even on the path, we have to continually be persistent to connect and to keep that channel open and to keep our balance. And it doesn't all of a sudden one day you awaken and then shit's all good from then on. I mean, that would be super awesome. I was kind of hoping at one point that's how it would go, but it has not. But it's okay. It is okay. Because it's about this journey. And it's about finding that happiness wherever we are. Finding that joy wherever we are. Not if we get to this certain spot, then I'll be joyful totally. It's like he said, the man who had this false identity of who he would be, could have been the happiest office man on the earth. You know, a lot of it has to do with our perceptions and our beliefs and what we think we should and shouldn't do. But let's be ruthlessly persistent in loving ourselves and in seeking our truths, not anybody else's. Seeking the truth of who we are, the divine expression that each one of us are. Because you know what? As I said before, there is no right or wrong path. It's your choice. You get to choose everything in your existence. And if you see negative stuff in your existence, you've allowed that. I know that's a hard one. It's a hard one for me sometimes. But it's okay. Because it's why, I come here and share with you. And to help you know that it's okay. And to know that these lessons are beautiful ways to your positive growth. So, destroy your imaginary self-pictures with ruthless persistence. They are the foes who prevent your newness. And remember that you are eternally adored and loved. And if you're interested in other ways to get a hold of me, in the description of the video, I have all the ways. And, yeah. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. And I love you.